Have you ever felt that everyone is living in an unending cycle that starts and ends with a paycheck? You'll be astonished to know that around 200 million people are burdened with financial problems and have forgotten the taste of real happiness. However, someone has finally broken this horrible cycle of paychecks, and he is none other than Chris Choi. Once a dropout student is now a millionaire who has earned the title of top 1% of Airbnb. You see, instead of following the race of the world, Chris Choi created his own path and decided to do something about the growing problem of finance. Now, you must be excited to know how this millionaire managed to get financial freedom in such a short time. Then walk on this impeccable journey with us to know the success story of Chris Choi. The man who has taken Instagram and TikTok by storm today was born on July 31st, 1991. As appeared by his looks, Chris is from South Korea, but later he shifted to the United Kingdom for higher education. The surprising fact is that when Chris came to the UK, he didn't even know how to speak English. Not only that, Choi had no idea about where to go to shoulder his earnings. Despite his struggles, he wanted to fulfill the goals of his life. Perhaps it was because he was from a humble background. All his life, this South Korean man has seen his parents working hard every day to meet their needs. That's why, according to his initial plan, this future millionaire wanted to become a dentist. So he completed his graduation in human biology and psychology and got himself enrolled in a prestigious dental school. At that time, this naive young man thought it was a correct route to a successful career. Little did he know that this would be a turning point in his life. While attending the school, Chris used to think about his decision to become an oral surgeon. At first, he realized that the education fee was beyond his limit. Once, he also shared, "I knew my tuition was over $100,000 annually, so I wanted to make a passive income to pay for tuition while going to school. I first thought of investing in real estate, but coming from a humble background, I did not have any initial capital to acquire properties. So I decided to be creative and thought of rental arbitration instead." Now it's evident that the education costs will put Chris in too much debt and make things difficult for him in the future. Not only that, but he had to find a source of passive earnings while attending his classes. So he dropped out of school with only $8,000 in his pocket. This strategic entrepreneur had already decided to take a risk and invested all his money in buying his first Airbnb property. It was a simple one-bedroom apartment that he subrented after a short time. With that, he started subleasing houses, and within 7 years, Chris got a title of top 1% of Airbnb earners. Not only that, but after reaching this point, Chris became the owner of 700 properties in 7 major countries. This investor runs his Airbnb business in Los Angeles, Burbank, San Diego, Seoul, and Philadelphia. Without any doubt, he became a sub-renting tycoon. Well, that's not the only business he had to dig his hands in. Instead, Chris has many different projects, including a luxury car business, a chain of restaurants, a golf business, and a concierge service. At the same time, he builds a tech company to solve the problems in the real estate industry. Do you feel like Chris has turned into a Richie Rich overnight? Well, that's not the case. While recalling his struggling days, Chris said, "My biggest challenge was trying to operate business as a full-time student. I had to give up my sleep and social life for 2 years to build my business." Well, that was quite a bit of sacrifice on his side, but that was the only way to earn a passive income. From the start, Chris could not digest the idea of having a linear source of income. However, some people are not ready to think outside the box. These people have already assumed they could not get a higher level of success in their lifetime. It looks like Chris Choi's perspective about income makes him different from the crowd. He once said, "A great life seems to be challenging to most people because they are not willing to sacrifice and do things that the 1% in the minorities are and work so hard towards it." That's a bitter and sad reality, and we can only hope people can change their ways of earnings. Coming back to Chris Choi's mindset and determination, this guy has faced every challenge of his business with his strong will. In his opinion, if someone is creative, passionate, and most importantly resourceful enough, they can raise capital and expand their network. Anything is possible as long as one has a winning mindset. Mindset and psychology are controlling 90% of all businesses, and knowing that as an owner will help you strive for success. We believe it's quite an advice from Bloomberg's entrepreneurs and small business owners to take risk and aim for big goals. They have to think less about their fears and reservations and jump on the opportunity that comes their way. You may know that Chris was the one who changed their way of business projection. He told them that the emotion of fear is a significant factor in thriving their business. All in all, it all depends on your perception about how you take things and pass through the obstacles. Another factor in this millionaire's success is his excellent observation skills. As well as Chris always tries to learn a lesson from other people's mistakes. If you are wondering why a millionaire is going through such a hassle, then let us tell you that is the secret to his early success. Moreover, Chris believed that a mentor is crucial for becoming a successful entrepreneur. It's because he has already gotten the guidance and he has learned from his mistakes. That's why Chris Choi also highlighted that mentor strategy and guidance would help you avoid the problems that they faced before. Obviously, Choi was saying this because he has a mentor who is 10 years ahead of him. He learned from the best, and probably that's why Chris is known for his hard, yet smart work. The interesting fact is that after getting experience in the field, Chris is now a mentor himself. This passionate mentor has successfully taught hundreds of people, and their financial state is flourishing wildly. All the struggling youngsters under his supervision earn a stable and passive income through Airbnb. While doing the mentorship, Chris Choi also shares his thoughts, ideas, and tips about businesses on social media platforms. And we must tell you that he has quite the following on Instagram and TikTok. In fact, he is already called a TikTok star with 1.4 million followers, while on Instagram, he has a total of 244,000 followers. Both of Chris' accounts are filled with every type of post. Like you can find highlights of living a life in luxury, links to significant articles, motivational speeches, an inside peek to the responsibilities of an executive businessman, and many other topics. Additionally, his social media pages are bombarded with posts directed towards every employee's financial freedom. To turn his idea into reality, Chris started teaching thousands of people to get their first passive income through Airbnb. Hopefully his plan works, and we will have more than 100 millionaire mentees at the end of this year. Whenever this millionaire isn't working on his projects, you can find him exercising, taking care of meals, and pondering incredible business ideas. Well, we can bet that the ideas must be for the next generation's betterment so that the financial cycle's clutches won't trap them. You'll be pleased to know that in his financial planning, Chris Choi has decided to open a 5-star hotel chain by using his surname, Choi. After discovering the sheer range of Chris's portfolio, if you still can't figure out the net worth of this millionaire, then let's spill the beans for you. The estimated net worth of this TikTok star is $2 million. That means his annual income will be $400,000, while his monthly payment will be $32,000. Well, this guy sure has his pockets full. So do you think Chris Choi has a genie backing him up that none of his business plans has ever failed? Do share your thoughts in the comments below, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll be notified when we'll release our next video. Until then, take care, and we'll see you in our next video.